Planet? Hell yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Oh, yeah, we got a good one lined up for you. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday. Thanks so much for joining us, New Orleans and beyond. Got a lot going on this afternoon. Got a slammed program, as a matter of fact, with some really good guests that are going to be able to break things down in layman's terms for all of us to understand things better. And the things we need to understand better as New Orleanians, anybody in the metro area, Mayor Latoya, Junkett, Cantrell, federal indictment, 18 counts, 11 specific to Junkett, Cantrell. No word yet from the mayor. She did miss an event, the opening of the ribbon cutting of the New Orleans to Mobile train, the Mardi Gras Express, the Mardi Gras line. She was on the list as one of the speakers. You know, y'all, we do things different here in New Orleans, and this train to Mobile is one of those economic engines that's going to, we miss that. Terry Davis, this guy I used to work with in radio, he's just really kind of this shy, meek guy. And then he gets a gig with Ray Nagin as like his, media connection, like kind of, I don't know what you'd want to call it. I mean, mayoral spokesperson, media relations director. I have no idea what the title is. And Terry was just like kind of this, meek guy in radio, kind of quiet, reserved. Knew him for a few years. We always got along fine at the radio station. He was very friendly, very nice. I'm like, Terry, how's it going, man? Hey, I'm like, wow. Right away, I noticed like a different attitude. I'm like, wow, guy puts on a suit, working for the mayor, and just turns into kind of like, I don't know. I mean, jerk is kind of a tough thing to say because the guy's so meek and lame. It's just like jerk would be like almost giving him credit, like for having like emotions and some proactive mentality. I just think just sort of, I don't know, warped ego went to his head. I'm putting on a suit for the first time. I have a job. I get paid every 2 weeks. I don't know what it was. I'm getting a decent salary. I don't have to do much. I have no clue. But right away with Nagin, he just turned into kind of like I'd say a jerk, but just sort of this like kind of, I mean, even pompous is even a bad word. It's just not, there's not enough air in the balloon. Just, it was like, really, dude? You're kind of this nobody. You remember at the radio station? You're nice, kind of a nice guy, meek and quiet, and now you're just not allowing any access to the mayor? And you have just this sort of, pathetic attitude? Well, he's Mayor Cantrell's media person, like got that gig about a year and a half ago. So the two gigs with mayors are the two gigs with indicted mayors. It's just funny. But the reason I bring him up is because he's the only person from Mayor Junkett Cantrell's circle that said anything. The mayor is continuing to work. Wait. First off, two things. Continuing to means like has been working before. So that's sort of crazy. And then work and the mayor in the same sentence. That's funny. Continuing to lead the city. Really? The mayor's leading the city? Corey Johnson doing a talk radio TV program. leads the city more. And I'd never claim I'm leading the city. Seriously. It's crazy. Might as well say Mayor Cantrell continues her push towards joining the PGA Tour. I mean, it's insane. The mayor's continuing to work, continuing to lead the city. I mean, who comes up with this ridiculous stuff? Mayor Cantrell living in a vacuum. Well, the vacuum is pulling at full suction now. The 15 minutes are at 14 minutes and something. Mayor Latoya, Junkett, Cantrell, federal indictment. Joe Rasponti is going to join us in 10 minutes. New Orleans attorney Joe Rasponti. We were trying to get him on Friday, the day of the indictment. And Joe was just boxed in over at Fox 8, just wall-to-wall, coverage on the set, lots of information. We did have Craig Murdoch on, former New Orleans assistant DA, now a defense attorney, so both sides of it. We had Michael Hecht on Friday as well discussing it. So we didn't miss a beat, and I read the indictment before going on the air pretty quickly, got as many points out there as we could, especially, on the fly. But Joe Rasponti in 10 minutes, breaking it down in layman's terms. Lots of questions for him. We'll get lots of answers. 5 o'clock power hour. Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission will join us. He's had a lot to do with this thing. Hey, there's a new mayoral poll out. By the way, pollster John Cuvion from JMC Analytics and Polling, he'll join us tomorrow to break down the mayor's race, the sheriff's race. New mayoral poll is out. Channel 4 TV, post Arthur Hunter dropping out of the race. So it's the first poll without Arthur Hunter in there. Helena Moreno's numbers stay exactly the same, about 47%. No real movement there. Royce Duplessis is pulling 18%. Royce Duplessis in second place, 18%, or about 30 points behind Helena Moreno. She's almost triple. Almost triple. Oliver Thomas at 16%. Moreno basically tripling Oliver Thomas's numbers. He's in third place. Helena Moreno, 47%. Royce Duplessis, now number 2, 18%. Oliver Thomas, 16%. Here's an interesting one. Helena Moreno, black vote, 30%. Royce Duplessis, 24%. Oliver Thomas, 24%. Yeah, the new mayoral poll is out. I'll break it down for you in a few minutes. President Trump and Zelensky in from Ukraine with European leaders, about a half dozen or more European leaders. They're all at the White House trying to figure out this Ukraine-Russia thing. I like what Lindsey Graham said today. He either said it today or yesterday. He just, like him or not, right or wrong, he's right on this. He's like, Russia's our enemy. They're not an ally, Ukraine's a democracy, an ally of ours. We just put ridiculously tough sanctions on Russia. We destroy their the ruble. We shut down the gas station run by the mafia. That's what that Russia is. You know what Russia is as a country? The world's largest gas station run by like the mob. That's it. There's not going to be any nuclear war because we have nuclear weapons too. It's not a madman who'll go down dying and kill millions with nuclear weapons. It's sanctions. It's supplying Ukraine with better defenses and some offensive weapons to push the Russians out of their territory. And then within a few months, Russia would be coming to the table. No, check out what Lindsey Graham has to say. I reposted it on my Twitter at Corey Johnson. He's right on the money. Republican Lindsey Graham. Boy, New Orleans own Cameron Gilley, man. This is the guy I was talking about last week who took on the Leadville 100 up in Leadville, Colorado, a 100-mile race where you run through the mountains of Colorado, 100 miles. 9,800 feet's like the lowest level you're at. You go to about 12,500, 12,600 feet. And you go up and down, and it's 15,000 feet of height over that 100 miles you're going up. No, he took on the Leadville 100-mile run in Leadville, Colorado. He started at 4 a.m. Saturday morning, Colorado time. He finished Sunday morning around 11 a.m. Colorado time. He ran for 29 hours, 28 hours and 53 minutes. New Orleans' own Cameron Gilley. Started at 4 a.m. Saturday morning before we woke up and finished Sunday morning after we were all up, like near lunchtime. Ran through the night, nonstop, 28 plus hours. Just a really amazing feat by just a regular guy. You know, husband, has 3 kids, full-time job, a lot of travel with the job, somehow fits in the gym, stays fit, runs his tail off, and decided he wanted to do this. And in July, ran the Leadville 50, the 50 miles in the mountains. He says the toughest thing he ever did. And then he said, I'm going to run the 100. You know, that was the goal. The 50 was to prepare for the 100, which he knocked out. You know, just mind-blowing. You know, wake up, go to the gym or something, go have lunch, go play some golf, have dinner, whatever. The whole time Cameron Gilley's running in the mountains all day Saturday, all Saturday night, overnight Sunday morning, into Sunday morning near lunch, still running 28 hours. Just, I don't know. I can't wrap my brain around that. Boy, it's hot out there in August. Total Maintenance is there for you. Total Maintenance, air conditioning and heating experts. Yeah, Total Maintenance. In New Orleans, in Baton Rouge, if you ever need air conditioning help, it's simple. Think Total Maintenance. tm-ac.com. tm-ac.com. That's Total Maintenance. If you need AC help in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, stick around. Joe Rasponti's up. The mayor got indicted.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Total Maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. New Orleans talk giant Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
I'll have the entire city of New Orleans in the palm of my hand.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM. Also from Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida on 600 AM and 1560.
How many times have I had this guy on the program? How many times in the last year have I repeated quotes from him like, the feds move at their own speed? The feds move at their own speed. Or a comment like, well, Corey, I've been doing this 40 plus years and I've never, ever seen a public official mentioned in an indictment that shows a quid pro quo and the public official not indicted eventually. But it could happen, but I've never seen it. How many times have I said these two things that this guy said on this program a long time ago? Well, this guy is Joe Rasponti. Every Tuesday morning, you can check him out tomorrow morning on Fox 8. I'm sure he's going to have a whole lot to say. Friday, he was all over Fox 8. He's all over social media from those chats on Fox 8. Joe, how are you, man?
Doing great, Corey. How you?
Doing well, man. Same old stuff. Everything's fine. Life.
I heard what you said, but you do remember last week I said I think Friday could be the day. That was the first time I put my chip down at the Bellagio, and I got that one right.
No, you did say that on Tuesday. We had you on last Tuesday, and you even prelimmed it with, I'd always bet on Friday won't be the day. But this week's different. So, yeah. And but you and I both had the same kind of, rumors circulating that we were talking about a week ago Tuesday. And what really confirmed a lot of my sources as being valid is when one of them told me it was supposed to be a few weeks ago, and then I got another one to back it up, that there was a conflict with the judge. And then I get you on, and we never even discussed it. And you were like, yeah, the judge's wife works for a law firm. There was a conflict. I'm like, holy smokes, this is just verifying what my sources had said. So it just put more legs on the whole thing. And then Friday, the bomb was dropped. Mayor Latoya Cantrell indicted 18 counts, 11 specific to her. What was your initial thoughts, Joe, like when you just saw that and you glanced over it before you really got into it in detail? What were you thinking?
Well, the way they always do it is they put me up on that table there with everybody, and then we're on the air, and then they hand me the indictment. So I got it here, and I'm going to have to spend a little quiet time with it. But basically, I guess it was very Vappy-centric, okay?
Yep.
It focused on her relationship. I don't mean to relate, but it was about her and him and what they did. It didn't go down any other path like Mr. Farrell, the contractor. But everything kind of was around the two of them. And that was interesting. And then the thing that was most interesting to me was as I'm flipping these pages while, John Snell or Meg is talking, I'm trying to read a little bit.
Yep.
I get to the end and it's 2 counts of lying to the federal grand jury, which was, I think, big, and separate and apart from everything they did. It kind of stood out to me.
I mean, you want to know what I thought of right away when I saw that? Like if everything else goes away, which I don't think everything else is going away, some wiretap stuff might, but I thought about Jim Brown, the insurance commissioner. He was convicted of no crime associated with all those folks that went to jail. He got indicted for lying to the FBI.
That's absolutely right. He got indicted and convicted and spent 6 months in jail.
Exactly, for lying to the feds.
Right, and that to split the hair, Vappy is specifically charged with 18:1001, which is lying to an FBI agent. She's charged with 1623 or whatever, which is lying to the grand jury. But the point you're making is you may be able to beat the underlying stuff, but the specific thing of telling a lie to a federal agent or a federal agency is what's going to get you convicted. And I say that could happen because those are things that are separately proven through other objective criteria, possibly. If that is the case, then theoretically she could go down for that and not for the other stuff. So we'll see.
Relationship with former NOPD officer Jeffrey Vappy, trying to hide it, maximizing their time together. The feds said, and I quote, Joe, exploited their public position to develop and implement a scheme to defraud the city of New Orleans and the NOPD.
Yep, and the point they're going to make is this: if and when this thing goes to a trial, the defense will say, "Oh, it's all about just these 2 crazy kids having a love affair, and maybe they didn't get their clock right, and when he worked and when he didn't, but gee whiz, it's just them, being romantically involved." The federal government is going to say, "We don't care anything about their personal relationship. This case is not about that. This case is about people defrauding the citizens of New Orleans out of their tax dollars because he was getting paid for something he didn't do, and then they both were covering that fact up."
Won't her
covered it up even more with lying to the Fed.
Won't her side add to that, Joe, that hey, it's the mayor's prerogative who she puts on her, security team?
Well, that may be, and that's what they're going to. Sure, they're going to say it. Bottom line is, if you're on duty, you can't do certain things, and he got paid as if he was on duty. So what I'm saying is this: I think they're going to be able to prove the elements of the crime or crimes, which is, on duty, build a city, and while he was on duty, was not working. Was not doing his duties. So, but having said that, they may not convict him of it.
And even unnecessary security, like going on these trips where there was no security needed, and she brought him along anyway, paid for up.
Subjective. That's a little more subjective.
Yep.
It wasn't. It says who? Who says it wasn't needed? I think it was needed. I needed to be protected. See, so believe me, this is not the easiest slam dunk of a prosecution. It is not. But I think they can prove the elements of the crime. And I think that, like I said, the grand jury stuff, it's a whole other animal over there.
Yeah, Vappy lied to the feds like in 3 different interviews, and I'm guessing in front of a grand jury. Latoya Cantrell, I think, in at least 1 interview, and definitely in front of a grand jury. Personal communications via the WhatsApp app, which is a free encrypted cell phone messaging app, 15,000 texts between them. The encryption, I guess, was broken. A lot of quotes out of that, like where it all began, referencing the Scotland trip. So that personal app and a lot of messages that those 2 thought were encrypted, the feds broke it open and checked out 15,000 plus texts.
Yep. The only time I ever saw an FBI agent laugh was when we were sitting at a table and 2 people on either end of text messages said, Well, since we both deleted it, nobody can find it. And that's when the FBI agent started laughing. Moral of the story, everything that you ever say or do on an email, on a text, can be found on WhatsApp, and all can all be found and brought back.
Scotland, United Arab Emirates, Orlando, LA, San Fran, DC, Martha's Vineyard. They mention, I think it was like a total of 14 trips with Vappy, $70,000+ spent.
Yep. But they're going to say, it's only 70 grand, not that big of a deal. Anyway, listen, it's going to be who's going to be able to commandeer the narrative at the trial. Now, it may not get to a trial. You never know. But because her guidelines for both of those types of charges land right on the cusp of probatable or not probatable, right about a level 14. And so if she was maybe smarter and maybe not, she would try to get 3 points down for acceptance of responsibility, get into the probation zone, and ask for mercy from Judge Vitter. But I think everything about her betrays the fact that she's going to dig in her heels and snub her nose or whatever and go to trial. So let's see what happens.
Now repeat that scenario again. What could she do?
Well, just doing the quick math on guidelines, because everybody says, oh, she can get up to this amount of jail time and that amount of jail time. That's all great. But the real thing is the guidelines, which are still advisory. The judge can do whatever she wants to do. But if you do the guidelines with $70,000 or with the lying to a grand jury, with her not having any felony convictions or whatever, they both land on the scale at a number 14. And what that means is you can either get about 18 to 24 months in jail, or you can maybe get probation. But if you enter a plea of guilty, you get either 2 or 3 points, depending, for taken off for acceptance of responsibility. That slides it back to an 11 or 12. That's right. That's in the sweetheart spot of probatable offense, and she could make a very good case not to go to jail. She would have a felony conviction.
Wow.
But that's just me doing a little rough math. But both of them land there, and if they could be run concurrent. I mean, it's very plausible that she could get there. But if she goes to trial and they tack on the things that get tacked on when you go to trial,
yep,
I don't think she will be probatable. I don't think she will do some jail time.
No, it could be superseding indictments before that trial ever starts and things of that nature.
That we don't know about.
Yeah. Before we get in that, because we got to take a break in about 20 seconds. So in your opinion, by pleading guilty, you think the mayor could walk with no jail time potentially?
That's a potential, yes. And I can back it up, with the numbers. I'm not saying it's up to the judge eventually, but yeah, it's a real possibility.
That's a kind of a nauseating thought. We're visiting with Joe Rasponti, New Orleans attorney. Joe, I'm going to knock out a quick break. Come right back. Get more great information from you. Joe Rasponti's with us. You can check him out tomorrow morning on Fox 8 as well.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City. The vibe of the Crescent City, Corey Johnson.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, sir.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM. Also from Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida on 600 AM and 1560.
Thank you, Dean Warmer. Wow. Animal House. My brother was in town the last few weeks, came in from London with his son, my nephew. Yesterday, we all went to Lebanon's Cafe for lunch. Absolutely fantastic. You'll love it. Some of the finest Middle Eastern food in Metro New Orleans. Large portions, authentic, really fresh, priced right. Lebanon's Cafe. They're open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. till 9:30 at night, straight through the day. They don't close. 11 a.m. to 9:30, 7 days a week. That means they're open tonight for dinner till 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn. Lebanon's Cafe tonight for dinner. Joe Rasponti's with us, New Orleans attorney. Every Tuesday morning, he's on Fox 8. He'll be there tomorrow morning. Okay, Joe, so the mayor's attorney is what? Chastain? What's his name? It's Chastain? Is the mayor's attorney, Joe? You there, Joe?
I'm sorry, Corey. Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, it's Eddie Chastain.
Chastain. Okay. He's like, all right, first, he's a very good defense attorney. I mean, I would just say from the bleachers, from the cheap seats. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know that world like you do. Second, I believe he has a reputation for being smart in the sense like, we go to trial, it's not going to end very well. We really need to plead guilty. Let's go in this direction. He's not scared to plead guilty, to try to talk his client into that if that's the best case scenario. Am I right about all of this?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, every case is different. Eddie, like everybody else, I've been in positions where I've had to go to trial even when I didn't think it was the best thing, and vice versa, you know. But yeah, I think just from, you can say this as much as me, you don't need a law degree to see that the mayor's general attitude in life is acute hubris. Okay, and she tends to attack issues with vinegar instead of honey, and that if she wants to choose to dig her heels in, she may end up victorious. But if she doesn't, then there's a very good likelihood she's going to go to jail.
I think if she goes to trial, she's going to be found guilty of, I think, at least a few things like lying to the feds, and she's going to go to jail.
Well,
So
that's the
if
case,
she's
then I would
belligerent,
say it's yeah.
she continues to be belligerent and contrarian like she is, I think she's in trouble. But no, I think what you're talking about, plead guilty and maybe get probation and not go to jail. Let me ask you this real quick. The fact that she's in office, could her attorney go to the feds himself and be like, she'll resign? That's a card she's willing to throw on the table. Does that create value for the feds? I would think it would, that they're having a sitting mayor resign from office. I know Bill Jefferson didn't have that card to use because he lost that re-election to Joseph Gow, but I would imagine if he was in Congress that he could have said, I'll resign, and that could have maybe kept him out of jail. Is there any truth to what I'm saying?
That's that's true that has in the past been a theoretically a piece of leverage for the defense side to say, hey, we'll do this. That's part of the penalty. But quite frankly, she's only got 4 months left, so her leverage shrinks every day.
Yep.
And she's how long? It's been a lot more than that since she's been basically irrelevant to the city. I mean, you know that better than me. Everybody who has anything to do with running the city has said she's checked out a long time ago. So I would say to you, is that a possibility, and has that happened in the past? Yes. Do I think that would apply to her now in September of 2025? No.
When would a trial go down, you think, Joe, just in your opinion?
It's going to get cold, and it's going to get hot again, and may get cold again. I mean, 12 months, 18 months, it's going to be a little while.
Wow.
It's going to be a while. Oh, yeah, it's not going to be, certainly wouldn't be before she leaves office, without question. I can say that. And I don't think it's going to be I think maybe you're lucky if it happens in 2026. I'd say probably towards the end of 2026, but that's just a guess.
All right. Farrell was indicted, the contractor guy who was doing the inspections. Faoud, the former boxer guy that had the place on Britannia in Jackson and claimed art was stolen and was trying to make an insurance claim. Vappy, all are quid pro quo with the mayor type things, getting something in return for giving the mayor something of value. Vappy was mentioned, obviously, all over this indictment, but Farrell and Faoud weren't. How does that, the mayor being indicted, does that change their position at all?
Well, let's take them one at a time. As to Faoud, I don't know anything, but if you see 20 people standing out in the field and 19 of them all get blown up, but one person's left standing right in the middle of all the bombs, you know what you got to think about that one person? Maybe they know something, and maybe
they cut a deal.
Squad may already be on Team USA for all we know. He may already be cooperating because he's another one that was in the middle of a quid pro quo that nothing has happened to. Why? Well, there's certainly one reasonable thought is that maybe he has cooperated in exchange for not getting indicted, but I don't know if that's true. As to Mr. Farrell, same thing is that he was part of a quid pro quo with her, and they didn't bring it up. Corey, some of it may have prescribed, because you tell me, I think the tickets that part of the deal was him giving tickets, and that was to the NFC Championship game, the no call against the Rams, the no call game. When did that occur? Because if that occurred in 2019 or early 2020, January of 2020,
yep,
that prescribed.
Right. Meaning that it's too late to
too late. Statute of limitations ran out. It's a 5-year statute of limitations. That was Drew Brees was playing in January of 2020 on that game. January 2025 would be when it prescribed, and that's in the rearview mirror. I don't know if that's the case, and all you need is one overt act of the conspiracy to extend the starting point of your statute of limitations. So, but if they're going to do something with him, they probably need to do it, or they've already missed their chance to do it, is what I'm saying.
Do you think the indictment of the mayor changes the mentality of Farrell and Fowd's attorney and how they approach this thing, or it has nothing to do with it?
No, I think it's all intertwined.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, it might force them to be like, let's go cut a deal and be a cooperating witness. And
Yeah, right. It gives them an opportunity.
And I mean, the thing you said that I let in with, you've never seen a public official mentioned in an indictment in a quid pro quo type situation that wasn't eventually indicted. She got indicted, but not Farrell and Fowd stuff. So there could be superseding indictments coming down the line on this, right? With the mayor.
There could be, that is true. Or it could have prescribed, and I don't know why they would have allowed that to happen.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
So, but that's the prescription thing. It's just I haven't sat down. I got my own cases to worry about. I haven't sat down and did the TikTok on it to see, but I don't know everything as to what would be deemed an overt act, stuff like that. So,
and what about if it's all linked together? Like one big aspen tree or something. Like the tickets to that game might have been outside of the 5 years, but the line of gifts fall back in the 5 years. Can the tickets to the game be included? Is there a way to extend something outside the 5 years, Joe?
For instance, if he would have gotten a contract, let's say, if that was part of the quid pro quo.
Yeah.
If that last act,
that
last giving of the contract, let's say, if that were the case, if that happened August 31st, 2020, well, they still got 2 weeks to do it. Okay, because that is the last overt act of the conspiracy.
And there's no way to get an extension on something outside the 5 years before it hits the 5 years?
No, I mean, there's ways and nothing, like sometimes Hurricane Katrina may have extended some deadlines on things, but nope, not that I see in this particular case.
All right. So the trial could be, the best case scenario, sometime next year, within a year would be best case scenario for a potential trial?
I would say that is best case scenario. Yeah.
So that means there's months and months and months of the feds continuing to do what they're doing. And then these folks that have been indicted, a chance for them to flip or to plead guilty, or a lot of things can happen, obviously, right?
All of the above.
Superseding indictments, all of this.
Yeah. All those things could happen. Maybe some of them couldn't because, like I said, they've chosen not to. If statute of limitations is run, so we'll see. Part of me says, if you have these things to bring against her, why wouldn't you have just done it in this indictment? But I don't know what their strategy is. Like I said, I don't know what they're able to do. So
it's like you always say, they move at their own speed.
Yeah, but there's a clock on them.
Yep.
And maybe the clock has expired on a few of these things.
All right, Joe, we got 30 seconds before we let you go, and we always appreciate you having you on the program. What this indictment, the facts the charges, how the mayor is, what do you think's going to happen ultimately? You ask me, I think the mayor's going to be found guilty of something or plead guilty to something and will spend a little time in jail. That's what I'm thinking. It's not what I hope or want, or I'm just my guess, my opinion. And I wouldn't mind it,
I really don't know. I think that her attitude has betrayed someone who does not look to be someone who's going to enter a plea.
Yep.
And if she does go to trial, it's very hard to get a not guilty in that building. Very, very hard.
Yep.
So, and if she does go to trial and is found guilty, the likelihood of her going to jail is very high. Very high.
Joe, what time will you be on Fox 8 tomorrow morning?
7:45 a.m., I believe.
Yeah, you're right. Always a pleasure, Joe.
All right, Corey. Good talking to you, man.
Yeah, great talking to you, man. Thanks for all the great information. That's Joe Rasponti, New Orleans attorney. Corey Johnson with you.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Don't forget, you can catch The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on television every weekday afternoon, 4 to 5:30 on Cox Channel 4 TV and Spectrum Channel 333 television.
Yeah, you right. Thanks so much for joining us on this Monday afternoon. Mayor Latoya, Junkett, Cantrell, a federal indictment back on Friday. We brought Joe Rasponti in for the last 30 minutes, breaking it down. Rafael Goyeneche is going to join us in about 20 minutes in the 5 o'clock power hour from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Instrumental in this indictment. If you remember, Ann Bro took the photo of the mayor in Vappy. She's at her Pontalba apartment, sitting on her balcony. She looks over and can see people eating at Tableau right across the street, like, I don't know, 40 feet away. And it's Vappy and the mayor. And it looked like they were having a nice romantic time. She snapped a photo, sent it to the Metropolitan Crime Commission, just questioning, like, is this okay? Is this the guy doing protection for her? And that pretty much led to where we are today. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Yeah. The mayor just belligerent, sticking it in everyone's face, having this affair. And I don't give a crap about the affair, but low profile it. You're the mayor of the city of New Orleans and you're married. You have a young daughter, so you don't want to be out in the open having an affair and yucking it up with the guy you're having an affair on a French Quarter balcony. Are you insane? Are you drunk? What's your problem? So, no, just brought it upon herself. No one to blame but herself. No one to blame but herself. Hey, tomorrow, pollster John Cuvion's going to join us from JMC Analytics and Polling, talk about polls he's done. And a new mayoral poll is out, Channel 4 TV poll. This is interesting. Post Arthur Hunter, the judge dropped out. The poll is really kind of mind-blowing. Helena Moreno has 47% of the vote. Royce Duplessis now is in second place with 18%. Oliver Thomas is at 16%. I just find that really interesting that Royce Duplessis jumps in the race as not an unknown, but not totally known. Oliver Thomas is very known, but has had some problems, went to jail, but it was a generation ago. People forgive and move on. Oliver Thomas has more name recognition than Royce Duplessis, but obviously there's baggage with that name recognition. So Helena Moreno has 47% of the vote. Royce Duplessis, 18%. Oliver Thomas, 16%. Royce Duplessis is in second place right now, according to the Channel 4 poll. Now, this is a breakdown in demographics. Helena Moreno, 70% of the white vote. Royce Duplessis has 10% of the white vote. Oliver Thomas has just 3% of the white vote. So Helena Moreno, 70%. Duplessis, 10%. Oliver Thomas, just 3%. Black vote, Helena Moreno, 30%. Duplessis, 24%. Oliver Thomas, 24%. Women, Helena Moreno, 50%. Duplessis, 16%. Oliver Thomas, 18%. So breaking down all of this, where Helena Moreno has 3 times the votes right now as Oliver Thomas, almost 3 times Royce Duplessis, has 30% of the black vote to their 24% each. Now, the questions I would ask was, as far as just generally speaking about this race, how does Moreno, the prohibitive favorite, keep the black vote that she has right now and get about 5% or 1/3 of the 15% or so remaining undecided vote? Because if she does that, if she keeps all the votes she has right now, including the black vote, 30%, there's about 15% undecided or so. If she can get 1/3 of that, she can win in a primary. The race will be over in the primary. There'll be no runoff. How can Duplessis or Thomas take away some of the black vote that Moreno presently has? How can they chip away from Moreno's black vote? If Oliver Thomas were to drop out of the race, and I doubt he does, Duplessis would have like 30% of the vote, hypothetically. Duplessis is getting some white vote. He can get more. Thomas is maxed out on the white vote. Duplessis has more than 3 times the white vote as Thomas, 10% to 3%. If Duplessis can take away just 5% of Moreno's black vote and gain 5% of the white vote, Moreno won't win in the primary. All Duplessis needs to do is take about 5% of Moreno's black vote and 5% of her white vote. Now, that's a lot harder said than done, but if he does that, she won't win in a primary. And after that, at least a runoff becomes slightly interesting. Moreno would go in with 40+% of the vote. Duplessis would go in with 30+% of the vote. Whoever can get the most of that remaining 15 or 20% of the vote, it could be the next mayor. and most of that remaining 15 to 20% of the vote are black people. So it could get interesting if it goes into a runoff. I'll give Royce Duplessis a little bit of momentum, with that. But still, what I've been saying for months now, Helena Moreno is the prohibitive favorite. It looks like she's going to be the next mayor. It is a 50-50 chance she'll win in the primary. I stand by all of that. But Royce Duplessis jumping out the gate 0 to 60 was pretty impressive. And now these polls that have come out, the recent poll that comes out, he's leading Oliver Thomas. He's ahead of Oliver Thomas. Oliver Thomas could drop out of the race, back Royce Duplessis. We'll see. Interesting poll. Tomorrow, pollster John Cuvion will join us from JMC Analytics and Polling and break down the mayor's race, the sheriff's race, all that good stuff. Zelensky and Trump and a bunch of European leaders at the White House. Hopefully they can work something out. Ukraine keeps just about everything. I mean, the only thing I haven't heard is like maybe splitting Crimea with Russia, but I don't even think that should be on the table. But that might be the thing that could possibly get this done, where Russia can kind of save face, Putin can save face and walk away. At least I got something part of Crimea. Hopefully something gets done and this thing ends. 5 o'clock powwow was next. Rafael Goyeneche is going to help us break down Mayor Junkett Cantrell's federal indictment. But now, Blue Boy.
Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Let's do this thing called the Neutral Ground in the 5 o'clock powwow, too. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. What a weekend. Soaking in the indictment of New Orleans Mayor Latoya Junkett Cantrell. A federal indictment, 18 counts, 11 specific to the mayor. No word yet from the mayor, although one of her spokesmen said the mayor is continuing to work. That's funny. Continuing to work? That she did work at one point. Continuing to lead the city. Who writes this crap? Unbelievable. What a bunch of garbage. The mayor continues on her path. The 15 minutes is almost up, about 14 and a half minutes into her 15 minutes of fame. And because the mayor is belligerent and a contrarian and kind of goes the opposite way of common sense, there's a chance she may not plead guilty and will go to trial. And when you're lying to the feds, it's hard to get around being found not guilty of that. Hard to get around that. So wire fraud, I mean, you might want to argue some of those. But the cover-up, the obstruction of justice, those are hard to get around. So I think the mayor's best bet is to plead guilty, resign from office as like hey, well, I'll throw a card on the table. I'm going to resign, and I don't go to jail, just probation, and I'm a convicted felon, and I walk. If I'm the mayor, that's what I would be trying to do. But Latoya Cantrell, I mean, and I'm not saying the feds accept that deal. Hey, we've got you online to us. That's going to stick. We've got you on obstruction of justice. We think that's going to stick. You're going to get jail time. So no, there's got to be some jail time. I have no idea how this is going to work out. I think most New Orleanians would feel betrayed if the mayor doesn't spend some time in jail. You know, Edwin Edwards, Ray Nagin, Walter Reed. I kind of feel shortchanged personally, like, you know, for West Bankers, like John Ilario was never indicted. He was doing exactly what Walter Reed was doing, using campaign funds for personal expenses to enrich his own life outside of politics. Same thing. John Ilario's guilty like Walter Reed. And then the former St. Bernard sheriff, Jack Stevens, he's just a scammer. You know, just the Miro Foundation. I think he rents the Lafitte's blacksmith shop in the quarter. I think he pays the Miro Foundation about $2,000 a month. And then he subs it out to a bar, you know, group that pays him like 20 or 30 a month. And then I think Breton Sound Marina, he pays the Miro Foundation, I think $2,000 a month, and he rents it out to a marina group and gets like 20, 30,000 a month. So he's paying the Miro Foundation like $4,000 a month, and he's pulling like 50 grand a month out of their assets. At least that's how it used to be. And I don't know why it would be any different. And, the former sheriff of St. Bernard, folks that have been down to like Shell Beach and have seen his camp, it's $1 million building. So, I don't know. Maybe I should have been sheriff of St. Bernard, make a lot more money. No, the point is, you like seeing the Bill Jeffersons, the Edwin Edwards being found guilty and going to jail. And if you don't, there's something wrong with you, that you like getting stepped on and spit on. And we're the citizens. We elect these people. They're supposed to work for us. In Louisiana, I don't think people comprehend it. I'm saying it right now. We're the citizens. We vote for these elected officials. They work for us. And I think a lot of Louisiana people chuckle and go, whatever. They're supposed to set themselves up. It's supposed to be something for their friends. Supposed to be, to get some ladies out of the deal, some money. I don't know why the low expectations, the second-rate attitude with Louisiana folks that think that way. No, there are elected officials supposed to be sacrificing for us, civic duty for us. Edwin Edwards, Bill Jefferson, Mark Morial, John Alario, Walter Reed, Jack Stevens, Ray Nagin, on and on and on, Aaron Broussard. They're setting themselves up, their friends, their family. It's obnoxious. It's why we have a bad reputation in New Orleans and Louisiana. It's why the mayor just got indicted. It's how we operate and how we tolerate it. No, I think people in New Orleans would feel upset if the mayor didn't spend at least some time in jail. The trumpeter, Irving Mayfield, that no musicians in New Orleans want to work with, don't like the guy, think he's a jerk, because he is, egomaniacal lunatic. Steals $1.3 million from New Orleans' most vulnerable, inner city kids and the public library system. $1.3 million he pilfered. He went to jail, I think in Pensacola, the country club jail, golf, tennis courts, people flying in lobster and crawfish boils, steaks on the weekend. Went there for like 7 months and then spent about 3 or 4 months in a halfway house. Got some pull from some higher up. Some politician went to bat for Irvin Mayfield and got him out of jail in 11 months. No, it's sinful. And it's disappointing. Not only because he's a jerk and a scumbag, because it says you can steal $1.3 million, go to that cushy Pensacola jail and get in shape and read books for 7 months, and then come back to New Orleans and live at a halfway house for 3 more months and get great food brought in. And in less than a year, you walk as a free man with $1.3 million. I think if I presented that proposal to a lot of people, hey, Mario, you're going to be confined to Eglin Air Force Base in Pensacola, Florida. They have a golf course, tennis courts, big Air Force base. You could walk out, but that would be stupid on your part. You'd be leaving a jail. So it's country club jail. You can have friends and family come visit. You got a little money, you can have stuff flown in, steaks, lobster boil, crawfish boil on the weekends. 7 months there. Come back to New Orleans, live in a halfway house for 3 months, and you walk with $1.3 million. Would you take that deal?
Yes, sign me up.
Yeah, your girlfriend would probably say, go do that.
Yes.
I'll come visit you on Sundays. And in less than a year, you'll be out and we'll have $1.3 million.
Yeah, we make it work. We make it work.
For a lot of folks, that's 20 years of working. $1.3 million, like a couple of decades of working. Hell yeah, they'll do 11 months. That's what Irvin Mayfield did. So the point is, a lot of folks feel justice wasn't served. He paid his dues. No, he didn't. Walter Reed, Nagin, coronavirus got them out of jail quicker. That justice wasn't quite served. At least that's how I see it. At least that's how I see it. So Mayor Latoya, Junkett, Cantrell, walking with just probation and a federal indictment and being a felon. That I think would be disappointing. I don't think justice would be served. I think like Bill Jefferson, like Edwin Edwards, reporting to jail, the citizens of New Orleans want that satisfaction. They want that justice. look, you folks that hate the mayor and you want to see her go to jail, you get off on that just because that's what you want to see. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about justice and what should happen for someone committing crimes against the citizens of New Orleans, plus just the belligerent attitude. I mean, I've nicknamed her for years now, Junkett Cantrell, because she goes on these junkets all the time and then takes the boyfriend with her and all of this. So no, it's New Orleans. We're not Austin. We're not Nashville. And we're not Atlanta, Houston or Dallas. We're not some booming metropolis where young folks are moving here and we've got an explosive economy. The opposite. We got major problems. We need real leadership and folks to fix these problems. And we get Junkett Cantrell and her BS and her attitude. No, like the last thing New Orleans needed. Hey, in about 5 minutes, Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission joins us. He played a part in this. And bro, with the photos, got the ball rolling. Got a lot to cover this hour. After Rafael joins us, a new mayoral poll is out. I'll fill you in on that. Trump, Zelensky, a bunch of European leaders at the White House. And boy, I can't not mention New Orleans' own Cameron Gilley over the weekend. He took on the Leadville 100. That's the 100-mile run in the mountains in Leadville, Colorado. 9,800 feet to over 12,500 feet, about 15,000 feet in climbs over 100 miles. 100 miles running in the mountains on trails, insane. He started Saturday morning at 4 a.m. New Orleans' own Cameron Gilley started Saturday morning at 4 a.m. He finished Sunday morning the next day. 28 hours, 53 minutes of running. Just insane. No, inspiring, heroic, and New Orleans' own. I mean, the winner, it's from like Boulder. The second place finisher was a woman, and she's from Colorado. So they're used to this environment. Cameron Gilley's running down St. Charles Avenue, running on the levee, running out by the lakefront, running on, bike paths on Wisner and City Park. He's getting in the miles that way. Humid, flat New Orleans. And he goes up into the mountains a week and a half in advance. Now, last month he did the Leadville 50 to prepare. The 50-miler said it was the toughest thing he ever did. This is twice as much, twice as long, twice as many miles. Damn impressive. So giving a shout out to New Orleans' own Cameron Gilley. Just, like I said, inspiring. You ever struggling through some workout or you're at the gym and you're tired and can't get through it? Think about Cameron Gilley running for 28 hours in the mountains of Colorado. That'll get you through it. Amazing. Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission joins us next. Mayor Junkett Cantrell indicted. Kaboom!
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward.
For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
As New Orleans as coffee in the morning and as New Orleans as coffee in the morning and raw oysters for lunch. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
Welcome back, Crescent City and beyond. Hey, tomorrow, pollster John Couvion from JMC Analytics and Polling is going to join us. A new mayoral poll is out from Channel 4. Helena Moreno at 47%. Royce Duplessis has passed Oliver Thomas in this poll. He's at 18% to Oliver Thomas's 16%. We'll talk more about that later this hour and tomorrow with John Couvion, pollster. Right now, Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission joins us again on the program. How you doing, Rafael?
Hi, Corey. How you doing?
Doing well. Hey, before we get into all this news, and it's kind of ironical, Ann Bro, a citizen, sending a photograph to you guys, kind of getting the ball rolling in some ways on this. Before we get into all this, and instead of jamming it all in at the end, like we usually do, how can folks get in touch with the Metropolitan Crime Commission if they have a neighbor that has a city contract and they know that something's not right, or they have politicians doing something wrong, or any kind of crime they might know about, some kind of tip they might have for you, and or if they want that weekly email blast of the crime statistics and the like?
Right. So we've been around for 73 years. And what you're referring to is that, we're not a law enforcement agency. We're a private nonprofit. Any of the investigations that we're involved in, we don't self-initiate. We're totally dependent upon citizens calling us up and providing us with information that's verifiable and proof. And then we write a report, not just providing a name and recounting what somebody told us, but seeing if we can substantiate what they're telling us, and then we'll make a referral to the appropriate agency. Just since 2009, there's been 110 corruption-related felony convictions that were initiated with MCC referrals to law enforcement.
Wow.
That isn't a testament to, the fact that we're super sleuths or junior G-men or anything like that. It's people that have information, elect to call us. We get that information to where it needs to go. And public officials and private citizens that corrupt public officials are being held accountable. That's exactly how this thing played out with the mayor. You also mentioned that if anybody wants to receive our weekly email updates on the criminal justice system, police, prosecutors, judges, there's no charge for it. Go to metrocrime.org. You can subscribe to get our weekly crime trends reports, and they come out every week. And you can also use that website to
anonymously report corruption, or if you want to identify yourselves, if you want to talk to us, we're not going to disclose your identity unless and until you give us permission to do so.
Hey, Rafael, Ann Bro, who lived in the Pontalba apartments right around the corner, directly across the street from her balcony is Tableau Restaurant's second floor balcony. And from her sitting down on her balcony to someone eating across the street, it might be 40 feet, 45, 50 feet at the most. Ann Bro saw the mayor and NOPD officer Vappy having a dinner there, snapped a photo and sent it to you guys. What was the gist of what she was claiming the photo was about? Like what got you guys interest peaked, and what was she first what was she first insinuating?
Okay, so Ann Bro, just like every other citizen, knows who the mayor of the city of New Orleans is. Ann Bro lived in the Pontabla. Ann Bro knew who the mayor was. She knew because of publicity who Officer Vappy was. So this whole thing kicked off not in April of 24 when Ann Bro provided us with a photograph of the two of them dining al fresco on the balcony of Tableau, but in 2022, when people that lived in the Pontabla noticed that the mayor was only allowing one member of her executive protection team, they knew who it was. They didn't know what his name was. They provided us with pictures of that. So all of that publicity alerted the public to who Officer Jeffrey Vappy was. So in 2024, when Ann Bro walked out on her balcony to water her plants, and she saw the mayor and Officer Vappy dining across the street, directly in front of her apartment, she took out her picture, took out her camera, and snapped a couple of shots, and those became really the poster child for the mayor flaunting her nose at the police department and at the public. So Officer Vappy, before that, because of the photographs and because of some of the work of the local media, Officer Vappy was investigated by the police department and disciplined for inappropriate behavior with the mayor. And after his censure was completed, we now are finding out that the mayor ordered Interim Superintendent Michelle Woodfork to reinstate him back onto the executive protection team. And he immediately resumed doing, what he had been disciplined for. So when Ann Bro walked out on her balcony, she didn't call me and ask me what to do. She knew what to do. She took that picture. She elected to give it to the Crime Commission, and we in turn referred it to the appropriate agencies. And when the indictment was issued on Friday, she wasn't mentioned by name, but that was part of the government's allegations in the 44-page, 17-count corruption indictment that was leveled against the mayor and Officer Jeffrey Vappy. So one person makes a difference. Ann Bro is an example of that, but there were other people that provided information through the years that also went to the government. And that was part of the predication that allowed them to open the file and begin to use evidence and obtain evidence that couldn't be provided by the Crime Commission or the news media. They subpoenaed records. They got warrants to open the mayor's phone and Officer Vappy's phone. And we saw in that indictment that they were able to document a sweeping conspiracy going on for years in which the mayor used her authority as the mayor of the city of New Orleans to get the public to pay for her trips with the officer that was supposed to be protecting her. But we know from the text messages that there wasn't any type of protection. It was basically a taxpayer-funded vacation. for the both of them every time they left town.
Yeah, in a romantic relationship, with the former officer Jeffrey Vappy. They tried to hide it. The feds say they tried to maximize their time together. Quote, exploited their public positions to deliver and implement a scheme to defraud the city of New Orleans and the NOPD, Rafael.
Yep. And that was 17 counts. That wasn't everything the government uncovered. That was enough for them. And they decided, they picked, and they chose what they had. They strung together 17 counts in this superseding indictment. We saw a hint of it last fall when Officer Vappy was indicted by himself. And Friday was the superseding indictment, naming the mayor and Officer Vappy and providing a lot more detail that we weren't aware of from when Officer Vappy was indicted last fall.
We're visiting with Rafael Goyeneche for a few more minutes from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday. Hey, Gallagher's 527 restaurant in Mandeville, they're not open today, closed on Sunday and Monday, but they're open tomorrow through Friday for lunch, Tuesday through Friday for lunch, Tuesday through Saturday night for dinner. As good as it gets in Mandeville, Gallagher's 527. So good. Get over to the North Shore, you South Shore folks. You'll enjoy Gallagher's 527, I promise you. Hey, Rafael, ironically, and we'll get more in the indictment in a second, but ironically, you mentioned the Pontalba. The mayor's own cameras help the feds. The French Quarter Corporation or whatever has those cameras at the Pontalba building they own. So public has access to those cameras. Fox 8 got hundreds of hours of video. I'm assuming they got interns to sit there and, fast forward through it till you saw someone going in or out of the door and then stop and let's see what it was. And lots of Vappy going in and out of there. So the mayor's own cameras from a commission she appoints busted her.
Well, it was that, plus the mayor's own cell phone text messages implicated her in all of this. So those cameras were installed there. The mayor owns the office of mayor, not Latoya Cantrell. The office of mayor owns 100% of the stock of the French Market Corporation. So this mayor got the French Market Corporation to install security cameras outside of the front door going into the Pontalba apartment that the mayor went in and out of.
Wow.
So the cameras that she installed were part of the basis for the government and the media documenting the comings and goings of Officer Vappy, one of 4 executive security members, but he was the only member of the executive security team that was allowed in the mayor's apartment.
Rafael, basically they're saying Vappy traveled with the mayor 14 trips with Vappy, $70,000 plus of taxpayer money spent. They're basically saying traveled with him out of state and out of the country when protection was not needed.
All right. So you'd have a hard time convincing anybody that, when the mayor went to Scotland or the mayor went to France or the mayor went to any of her overseas junkets, that people over there knew who Latoya Cantrell was. She didn't begin. In fact, the indictment indicates that the mayor did not begin to bring executive security with her on her trips until Officer Vappy was assigned to the unit.
Wow. Hold that thought. That's incredible. I didn't know that. We're visiting with Rafael Goyeneche. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back. More with Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Don't move.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Not a politician or part of a political machine. Corey Johnson.
I propose that I use what's left of the town treasury to move to a more prosperous town and run for mayor.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
Rafael Goyeneche is with us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Sorry to have cut you off, Rafael, but you were saying only the mayor had gone on junkets. There was no security detail. When the security detail started, it was with Vappy.
Right. That's what was alleged in the indictment on Friday.
Wow.
Yes. Yep.
18-count indictment by a federal grand jury, 14 counts of wire fraud, 1 count each of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, false statements, conspiracy to obstruct justice. The mayor's directly hooked to 11 of these. Were you surprised that Randy Farrell, the Faoud guy, weren't involved in any of this? This is just strictly Vappy when those two have been indicted and the mayor's mentioned in their indictments. I guess I'm asking you, were you surprised by that? Coupled with, do you see superseding indictments in the future for the mayor?
Yes, I do. So Officer Vappy was indicted by himself. And in that indictment with him last fall, referenced the fact that they had the cell phone records of his and the mayor. And when he was indicted, some of his messages to the mayor were released in the indictment. So a few months after he was indicted, you saw Randy Farrell indicted for a bunch of federal violations that included bribery of a public official. So I've never seen an individual indicted for bribery and not see the public official indicted. So Friday, there was a superseding indictment in the Vappy case that added the mayor to it. And I think it would be logical to assume that there will be a superseding indictment in the Farrell case, because you don't prosecute somebody for bribing the mayor and not charge the mayor in that as well.
And that Fode guy, the boxer with the supposed stolen art, the insurance scam, there was some quid pro quo going on with him and the mayor.
Well, he was the intermediary, allegedly, between Randy Farrell and the mayor. So the government has communications between Fahoud and Farrell, and now we know that they have the mayor's cell phone as well, because they demonstrated that with the 15,000 text messages. So for the government to open up her phone, they had to have a federal warrant. A judge had to give them permission. And if the mayor thought that her phone was so secure with encrypted messaging that she basically implicated herself in crimes with respect to Vappy, then she probably may have done that with respect to some of the other people that she was dealing with, possibly Randy Farrell. So a lot of this case is not hearsay, but the actual communications between the mayor and the people that were in the conspiracy with her. And the government is using her own text messages to prove her guilt in this. We saw it in the Vappy case. It was hinted at in the Farrell case. And what remains to be seen if there'll be a superseding indictment, but you don't charge someone with bribing a public official and not charge the public official.
Yeah, the personal correspondence via this WhatsApp app, the free encrypted cell phone messaging app. You mentioned it, Rafael, over 15,000 texts, and some very incriminating, like the Scotland trip. I think Vappy was saying where it all started, talking about the relationship. Boy, those Vappy trips, $70,000 plus of taxpayer money at least. Scotland, United Arab Emirates, LA, Orlando, San Fran, DC, Martha's Vineyard, where I think she paid for a first-class upgraded ticket for him. I mean, the feds have a lot of information.
They call it evidence.
Yeah.
And that's why it was, included in the indictment. So they believe that they could go into court tomorrow and meet their burden of proof to prove both Vappy and Mayor Cantrell guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
The cover-up, the obstruction seems very strong. I thought about the old insurance commissioner, Jim Brown. He never got indicted on any crimes that others did. He got indicted for lying to the FBI and went to jail for that. So I don't know how she gets away with that, the lying to the feds. But
well, she issued an affidavit to the grand jury. She didn't testify, so she put in writing.
Oof.
So telling a lie to the FBI is one thing. She put in writing
to a grand jury,
a sworn affidavit that was presented to the grand jury, making material misrepresentations. That's why she was indicted on the charge of falsifying records provided to a grand jury.
Over, on Friday, just trying to, take all this in and come up with the most logical points I could. I thought some of the wire fraud things might be difficult to prove, where her defense attorney is going to say that's her executive privilege, who to put on the, team or not, to have security team, all this kind of stuff. But then the more I thought about it over the weekend, the opposite I thought. I was like, she's got the authority to do this. It only strengthens the Fed's case, and she's the one that can pull the trigger on that.
So the mayor and her predecessors have final say who's on the executive protection team. She wasn't indicted because Officer Vappy was on the executive protection team. All 4 members required her approval. She was indicted, and Officer Vappy were indicted because they used public funds. He was being paid to protect her. The government can prove that he was not working in the capacity of being the protector. He was involved in a romantic relationship with her, and the trips were used as a guise or a ruse to justify them getting out of town, because both of them at the time were still married to other people. So that's why they were indicted. It's not because they were boyfriend and girlfriend, but because public funds were used to pay for that. Officer Vappy was a police officer that took an oath to follow the regulations and rules of the department. He knew what he could do, what he couldn't do. In fact, he had been removed from the executive protection team for a period of time for inappropriate behavior with the mayor sitting at the same table with her. Members of the executive protection team, when they're protectees out in public eating, they don't sit down at the same table as their protectee. They position themselves where they can view the whole room and the protectee's table. He was the only member of the executive protection team that sat down and ate and drank with her when she went to those things. So he was disciplined for that. And then when that investigation was completed, he ordered the interim superintendent to put him back on the executive protection team. And she went right back to doing the things that they were doing before. That's why she was indicted. That's why he was indicted. And they don't have anyone to blame but themselves.
They also brought up the Wood Fork situation where Wood Fork apparently was going to be the next chief, and then kind of went against the mayor by disciplining Vappy or not interfering. You know all the details. And then Vappy takes Wood Fork to like a daiquiri shop or something to break the news that she's not going to be chief, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a member of the security team. So when the mayor decided that she wasn't going to nominate Michelle Woodfork to be the permanent superintendent, she called Michelle Woodfork to the mayor's office, and present in the office was Jeffrey Vappy. No other members of the executive protection team, just him. So this was a message that was delivered by the mayor with Officer Vappy there, that, I didn't like what you did, the way that this investigation was handled, and you're not going to be my nominee to be the permanent superintendent.
Rafael, they're saying a trial would not be for at least a year. What do you say? Is that about right?
Well, the trial for Vappy was rescheduled in June for January. And then the indictment came out, Friday. So now that the mayor's been added to this, if this is resolved with a trial, her term of office will be over.
Yeah. Yep.
But the mayor has a decision to make that, if she has a constitutional right to confront her accusers and go to trial, but usually there'll be plea discussions. And if you plead guilty, the government usually reduces some of the charges, eliminates some of the charges. And by pleading guilty, you're acknowledging to the court of your culpability, and you're also acknowledging your sorrow. And those are factors that a judge can and does take into consideration.
Yep.
So we've seen where plea deals were turned down by Ray Nagin. He went to trial. was convicted, got 10-year sentence, ended up serving 7.5. So the government usually doesn't make allegations against people that they can't prove. So that's gonna be the mayor's call in this. Does she want to go to trial? And if she wants to end this thing, she could do it with a guilty plea, which means that she would resign from office and she would no longer be the mayor. My crystal ball is a little hazy. I can't tell you what she's going to do.
Yep. Hey, Rafael, before we let you go, guilty plea or go to trial, do you feel Latoya Cantrell will go to jail?
I believe so. When you take a look at some of the other public officials that have pled guilty, even though their charges were reduced, they all went to jail. So I expect that she will go to jail if she either pleads guilty or is convicted. It'll be longer if she goes to trial. It'll be less if she pleads guilty.
Rafael, always a pleasure. Any final point? Anything we're missing?
Well, this isn't over. This is just the beginning of the next phase. And, let's see what the future holds for us. But, I think, people are, somewhat upset that this is another black eye for the city. Everybody in the city's known about this at least since 2022. The mayor hired a criminal defense attorney when the federal government subpoenaed her campaign finances. So everyone in the city was aware that this was going on. So I think that this is a sense of relief. It sends a message that if you're a public official and you violate the public trust and commit crimes, doesn't make a difference who you are, you're going to be held accountable. So I think this is the beginning of New Orleans moving on from this sordid chapter. And I think that it sends a strong message to the public that if you report something, doesn't matter who they are, how powerful they are, if the information is actionable, something can and will be done about it.
Rafael Goyeneche, Metropolitan Crime Commission, thank you very much.
Anytime. Thank you, Corey.
That's Rafael Goyeneche joining us on the program. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Katie's is with you tonight for dinner. Looking for dinner tonight? Katie's in Mid-City. Get over there right now. Why aren't you at Katie's? The quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant full of great New Orleans seafood and so much more tonight for dinner. Katie's in Mid-City.
Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
TM-AC.com, no cool spots.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames. And the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
As New Orleans as the mighty Mississippi, Corey Johnson.
The old miss, the old man.
On 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
Deep river, my home is over Jordan.
Yeah, you right. Welcome back. 5 o'clock powwow on a Monday afternoon. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, Joe Rasponti joined us, New Orleans attorney, for a good 30 minutes breaking down this Mayor Latoya Junkett Cantrell indictment. And we just had Rafael Goyeneche on for about the last 25 minutes. In about 7 minutes, when we hit 6 o'clock, you can go to our YouTube channel, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson, and you can check out Rasponti or Rafael Goyeneche if you missed it and get some good in Cantrell and her federal indictment. In gears, he's been with the Associated Press for nearly 30 years. Brett Martell joins us again on the program. It's another Martell Monday. What's happening, Brett?
Hey, Corey. Interesting show.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Doing good. It's hot out there, but it's getting interesting covering football and so forth. And, you know, with the Saints, I can't say if they're going to be any good, but the quarterback competition is heating up for sure.
Yep. No, there's no doubt about that. I don't know. I think the over-under, the Vegas guys are probably right on the money, about 4.5, something like that. Saints are going to win probably 4 or 5 games. If they find a quarterback, they could win more. Right now, Brett, it seems like the quarterback battle sort of evened out. After preseason game number 1, it seemed like Shuck, coming off the bench, outplayed Rattler. Yesterday, the opposite. Rattler coming off the bench as the backup, outplayed Shuck. I'd say it's equal right now. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's really tight. You know, it is interesting, though. I mean, the guy who starts the game obviously plays against the better defenders. You know what I mean? Because they substitute in more second and third string guys.
Coupled with, you could argue, less pressure because you're not starting the game. You're coming off the bench, you know, so you're going to.
That's right. The other thing is, I think Shuck could have had better numbers and maybe even a touchdown drive, or at least another scoring drive, if Chris Olave, who's generally the best receiver on the team, doesn't drop an open third down pass in the flat that stalled the drive.
Right.
You know, so, well, I guess that was the field goal drive that Groupie ended up having a kick there, but they might have been able to punch that in. If they had gotten the first down there, they would have been just outside the red zone. It would have been just interesting to see how he handled that there. And then, of course, you know, after Rattler throws that fourth quarter interception, you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, I don't know. You know, he's definitely moving the team better this game, but that's a big mistake. And then he bounces back much like Chuck did a week earlier. And really the star in the whole deal is Mason Tipton, because he's made big plays catching from both quarterbacks.
Saints have what? One more preseason game? Is it Denver?
Yeah, Denver.
Wow.
Right, this Sunday.
That's unreal. And they play Denver again. Saturday. They play Denver again in the regular season too, right?
I can't.
Oh, no, they don't. Well, no, I guess they don't this year. I thought that there was like a Sean Payton Superdome reunion, but that was last year. So yeah.
That was last year, yeah. So, but I think they'll be in the Superdome this Saturday.
Oh, the Saints are in the Dome Saturday, not on the road?
Yeah, for the they have 2 preseason.
Wow, so they tossed in the old Sean Payton back in the Dome again. Interesting. It's funny, the quarterback situation, the Saints, whoever wins, Brett, you got an inexperienced young rookie-ish QB, either Shuck, who's literally a rookie, or Rattler, who's like a second-year guy. So I think there's a lot of instability there. I don't expect Shuck or Rattler to emerge as Bo Nix or, Jaden Daniels. So I think there's going to be a struggle at quarterback all year. I think you're going to probably see both those guys playing when, if one struggles for a few games, the other will take over, that kind of thing. Tulane had a similar situation, no quarterbacks. Then all of a sudden they get this BYU transfer in, and coupled with one of the other guys that transferred getting injured, it looks like they found their quarterback, at least for the opener, which is a week from this Saturday against Northwestern of Chicago. I think it's an 11 a.m. Yulman Stadium kickoff uptown. Tulane's probably going to go with the BYU guy, right?
I suspect so. I mean, I think they were always going to go with him, even though they couldn't say it. But in order for that guy to come and walk on at Tulane, after they already had 4 other quarterbacks or more, maybe even on scholarship.
Yeah.
After he had won 11 games at BYU last year.
Yep.
It's hard to, it's not fair to the other guys that were there first to just bring him in and say, okay, he's our starter. They're going to always say all along that he had to earn it. But I think he was, as soon as he agreed to come to Tulane, he was the favorite to start.
LSU doesn't have any problems. They got maybe a Heisman Trophy winner type quarterback, one of the best in college football. Boy, Brian Kelly, Brett, I'm not saying he's putting pressure on himself, but man, we're going to have a great offensive line. He great depth. He's really talking up this team publicly right now.
Yeah. Every now and then, I can't tell if he's overestimating, because he's done it before sometimes, or if he just feels like it's important, that maybe he feels like his guys need to hear that he wants them to be confident going to Clemson,
Yep.
And so he wants them to know that he thinks the world of the talent he has, and that, anything's possible for them. He needs to do something to create a very positive vibe going into the opening, week of the season, because they've struggled in these opening games, obviously, and that's a big storyline for them. And Clemson is favored at home, I think, by 4 points. But I think LSU is going to have something for them.
That's going to be a great game. That's a week from Saturday night at Clemson. Tulane a week from Saturday morning in Uptown. Brett, always a pleasure, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, take care, Corey.
That's Brett Martell from the Associated Press. And that's Blue Boy barking up a storm, saying, join us tomorrow. Pollster John Cuvion will join us, breaking down that new mayoral poll that's out. Helena Moreno, still the prohibitive favorite, but Royce Duplessis now ahead of Oliver Thomas. See you tomorrow, Tuesday, 4 o'clock. Be here.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.